Fun fact, Arcane was originally gonna be 5 seasons, and after Act 2, it kinda shows. Yo, what's up guys? Ready to talk about what is probably the funniest, most worrying set of Arcane episodes yet? Like, I went into this with high hopes, only to be immediately rewarded with a joy only a sadist could understand. Then the rest of the story was just more of the good I've come to expect, but not gonna lie, I have notes. Arcane has historically always been incredibly well-paced, if a little bit fast. We've always understood where everyone stands and why they're doing the things that they do. But this marks the first time ever I felt like the story isn't just rushing, but is scrambling to get all of its characters to be what they are in the game. Which is a critique I never thought I would have for this show. As while Act 2 was good, Jace just showed up like he was on a mission from the writers to make everything go wrong. I'm still loving it, but oh boy, Act 3 is it's gonna make or break this season, and that is a worrying prospect. It's gonna be good, but we gotta discuss. Also, this is obvious by now, there will be spoilers. So let's just start with like my issues first, as that's kind of the main thing here. Skip to right here if you just want the glowing positives, but for me, the pacing of this season. People have suggested that Act 1 was going just a little bit too fast. Personally, I can see it, but I do think it actually worked for the most part. To me, Act 1 just kind of felt like the epilogue of Season 1. We were crashing headfirst into the fallout of all those events. Vi joining the Enforcers after one episode works, as I never really saw her as actually joining the Enforcers. While a huge personal issue for her given that she's joined the organization that killed her parents and oppressed her people, I think it made sense why she would do so, as she wasn't actually joining them. It felt like she was helping Kate to put down Jinx, hence how awkwardly fitted the outfit was. While Act 1 covered things I might have liked them to spend just a little bit more time on, I think it all worked as it served to get the story where I thought it needed to be. Caitlyn as dictator, a time skip oncoming, everyone was just depressed and broken up, and a lot of events could be covered in that following time skip. Then, I thought the story could do what it really wanted in Acts 2 and 3. Now, while I still think that's true for the most part, I won't deny that Act 2 feels like there's enough material here to have been its own season. We got the quest to save Vander, the sisters reuniting and semi-settling their beef. Little orphan Annie filling the void in Jinx's life only to get got. Jinx becomes the symbol of the revolution. Mel being interrogated by the Black Rose. Then whatever the fuck custody battle Jace and Victor are having right now. There is so much stuff here that it is honestly a miracle that it plays as well as it does. But I can never shake the feeling that while we have moments to breathe, that this truly does work. The story feels like it's secretly running itself ragged to get to the plot points that it needs to in episodes 5 and 6. 4 is good. It sets up the new status quo, the new arcs for each of the characters going forward, only for a lot of it to feel like it's put on the back burner or being held off for a flashback in Act 3. The biggest victim of this is Caitlyn, who went from looking like she's about to have her hot dictator summer, only for Act 2 to start with her expressing doubts about the occupation and oppression, with those doubts about Mbessa and her own thirst for revenge taking a backseat to Mbessa and Singe's storyline of hunting down Warwick, rendering the arc that feels like she was set up to have to not really happen. She just sides with Vi, she works with her. We get signs, oh yeah, Kate was so angry she still wanted to hunt down Jinx. But then Jinx shows up and we never get a shot of betrayal that Vi is working with the woman that killed her mother. Like, this act feels less like it's running and more like it's speed skating over stuff that Arcane Season 1 wouldn't have just moved past, or have to like double back later to justify and explain it or call her out for all those actions, which we didn't see. Honestly, the worst part of this though is that I know for a fact that people are gonna use the excuse that Kate is a good person. Therefore, you see, it's actually in character that she would cool off after a few months and realize her mistake, that Mbessa doesn't have the city's best interest at heart. When, okay, I know Kate is a good person who was gassing the Undercity to cover up police brutality. But more importantly than that, Act 1 just did too good of a job putting Kate in this dark place, setting up an arc where we might see her do extreme things to get Jinx, only for that amazing moment just be used to explain what happened during the time skip, and she just joins the good guys in her mother's murder at the story's earliest convenience? Like, really? Like, to give an example of this exact issue that I've seen before, House of the Dragon. We spend the whole first season building up to the conflict between two rival factions. One of the queen's kids gets eaten, with us then ending on this chilling look from her. We get the anger, the grief, the woman who is trying to find a peaceful solution only for this to happen. It's soul-shattering, and it felt like the perfect lead-in for this woman of peace to burn the earth to avenge her kids. She got an audience hall pass to do terrible things, and that look led us to believe that she was gonna cash that bitch in, only for us to get nothing.
She said she saw in you a wish to avert the worst of what may now come.
See, this to me is the same issue as Kate. We have this amazing setup. It feels like the story is leading us to anticipate what is about to happen, only for the story to pump the brakes with the narrative trying to staple this hairpin turn on the fact that these characters like good people or they had time to process in Kate's case. Personally, I don't think a story can have moments this good, having me ready to support women's wrongs only for the story to do a 180. I'm okay with them not doing terrible things, but I think Arcane needed to better show us the internal journey versus keeping it under wraps so that it can have like a twist reveal, which is the other thing that has me kind of feeling a certain way about this act. Previously, Arcane has been so good about showing us just why every character does the things that they do. When something happens, it's shocking, but not because they do it, but because of the way the events played out. How one wrong interaction happened, leading to a reaction which triggered massive unintended consequences. A thing that was so consistently impressive about Arcane Season 1 is that they never just took the easy way out of just relying on miscommunication to create drama. They don't just have Jinx and Vi never talk to create beef between them. Jinx may have overheard the wrong thing without finishing that sentence, but then they clarify. And even though they clarify, things still go wrong after that, and it hurts so much more because of it. It adds so much complexity to the characters and their issues, and showing how just one talk can create an instant fix. And this is why this act making the choice to just send in Jace to gun down Victor with no explanation felt a little weird to me. What you say? We go from naked man-on-man hugging declarations of love, only to have Jace show up like the Terminator from the future with no explanation of where he's been, what happened, only flashes of how he sees Victor's converts, leading to a murder. What you say? This will be explained, I'm sure, but this moment does feel like a departure from the usual writing style that I've come to expect from Arcane, as it is a use of shock value to progress the story forward or elicit a reaction from the audience. And that is something that's played out a lot in this act. Kate's reservations about Mbessa show up like twice in the first episode, only for her to follow the general around. We see she's still thirsting for Jinx's head, and get moments like, oh yeah, they were kind of bonding. Oh, Mbessa's gonna take this betrayal so hard because we built up this nice bond over a time period that we didn't see. Again, true testament to the writing, I still think this all works immaculately. I had my little hooray moment when Kane and Vi were working together, which works. I'm not saying I didn't cheer. I'm not saying this can't be a callback to the Firelights jumping the Jinx and Vi reunion. However, for everything to go so calamitously wrong for everyone based on the actions of one character without explanation in Season 2, the final season, all put together does lead to a sense that we are rushing past story ideas that were originally planned to have a little bit more time to breathe. Now, just to cut off all these comments, which I'm sure have already appeared, yes, the creators of Arcane have publicly stated that 2 seasons was always the plan for Arcane's story, which means it's automatically true, as we know showrunners have never been forced to lie to justify things the higher-ups have decided after they decide they're tired of spending money and it's time to move on. Like House of the Dragon clearly was building up to a nothing finale and not a big giant battle on the sea that got cut due to budget. But again, yeah, the showrunners publicly said that 5 seasons being the initial plan, that was just a rumor. So I can't prove anything.
All these other people aren't on an NDA.
Every character that is in League of Legends is now poised to be who they are in the game, Jace being the sole exception. Victor's kind commune was destroyed, saying it could be a more violent and cold revolution. Jinx chilled out only to lose her emotional support Orphan. Singed is now working for Noxus. Vander is trapped as Warwick. Vi is going to team up with Kate and therefore the Enforcers to stop Mbessa. All of it was handled pretty well, all things considered, but I can't shake the feeling that all of these characters' arcs, all these journeys, I feel like they could have needed a few more episodes at least. It all works, I like it, the execution is still amazing, but this has been the one act where it feels like the story is making leaps to get where it needs to go, which is something I never once thought about any of the prior ones. Like even season 1 with its brisk pacing. I'm expecting Act 3 to be great, but it's got a lot riding on its shoulders. But to move on to some happier thoughts, the animation is still amazing, the music videos are fun, even if they are starting to get a little bit excessive, but when they hit like the watercolor of Vander's memories, it hits like nothing else. Also give you all a little peek into the topic of my next video.
Let me guess. Complaints about the Noxians.
What the fuck? What? Oh my god, people spent so... Oh my god. They really did them like that. Holy shit. Fuck. God damn. My god. Oh, that is devastating for somebody else. This is just comedy to me.
Who the fuck is this bitch? Hello?
I laughed so hard when this girl showed up in Cade's bed. Not because it's Maddie, but I just knew that this was gonna be something for the discourse. And I say this as someone who ships them and talks about shipping for a living. Even I was getting annoyed at all the 30-page think pieces just scrounging over their every interaction with analysis that rapidly started to sound like fan fiction, which I approve of, but there was so much. But for Act 2 to just start in bed with Maddie, it's so funny. So much work had been done, so much theory crafting, only for Kate to come out and be banging a ginger. People were ready to stand and justify Kate no matter what atrocities she did, but a large section of that fan base will be more offended by this than any war crime she may have committed. I am kinda leaning towards Maddie being a spy angle though. I'm not 100% about it, as Mbessa's words can also infer that Maddie was just the rebound. She doesn't have the actual pull to dissuade Kate from listening to her worst impulses, but both Maddie and Mbessa just pull the same trick a little bit. They tell Kate that she can do anything she wants, that she can walk back the martial law, but then they say shit like, oh, Nox is keeping us safe. Wow, you're a better person than me. I could never forgive the person who killed my family. They both lean into these false dichotomies where they are both reassuring Kate that she has control of the situation when you know she doesn't, which serves Mbessa's interest more than anyone else. Though the real reason I believe in this is that I do not think for a second that Kate is gonna end up with Maddie over Vi. Like, this ginger has to be either dead or turn out to be a traitor for them to like smooth this over, as we do not have time for a love triangle, and the streets would riot if these two don't end up together. Oh god, this is gonna be its own video. It was so funny for me to watch. Also, every scene of Vander being a monster was legitimately terrifying. This thing was going ham, howling as its body stitched itself back together. It was just all the right kinds of nightmare fuel, with it perfectly catching why everyone is terrified of him. As yeah, what do you do? Singed did a horrifically good job, and you can't say otherwise. Though you can absolutely hate the bastard no matter how many dead daughters he has stuffed in his closet. Now, I'm also on record saying that I wasn't actually looking forward to Vander coming back. I was hyped for Warwick, but Vander not so much. But I gotta see how Act 3 pans out before I expand upon that take. For now, yeah, the family hug was so heartwarming. This was one of the coolest shots in the show. The flashback to young Vander, Silco, and Vi's mom was great. It's so cool getting more insight to the people who defined Jinx and Vi, the relationships they shared, how I breathed breathed a sigh of relief when the boys weren't in love with the mother. They were just all friends inspiring each other. Though not gonna lie, I did feel a little bit pandered to with Silco's old hair. As it's just Jinx's hair and it's like, oh, Arcane. Y'all wanted those "that's her dad" tweets so badly, which I appreciate, but we've seen his nasty mop top from season 1. Him going from that to this was whiplash. A funny one, but it is just still. I see what you guys are doing there. It's a little bit heavy. In things that are less funny, what the hell is the story doing with Mel?
Whatever that child inherited is of terrible interest to our captors.
Truly? Mel feels like she's in a backdoor pilot for a Noxus spin-off of Arcane. It's a wait and see, but since she is one of my favorite characters, having her literally ripped away from the main story, with us finding out that it wasn't that Kino's brother crossed the wrong man and got killed. No, it was a Black Rose specifically hunting Mel because she might be magic? Like, this feels slightly out of left field from what we saw in season 1, but I'm still like, okay, wait and see. Also, whatever Mbessa was paying this beefcake
Will be a deep cut.
Oh my god, he's so goddamn cool!
she should have been paying him more. Mbessa continues to be great, even though like, oh, she is just the villain now. And it's doing a thing with her that I think Arcane does really well with its villains. Showing vulnerability. Even when they are acting like these 10-head manipulators have everything figured out, I love how they always give us just these glimpses of vulnerability. Not just emotional, but physical as well. They get caught in situations where they truly don't have control over everything. Silco didn't actually know if Savika was gonna side with him, just like how Mbessa didn't know if Kate was actually gonna take command of the city. I love seeing these characters who the fandom and even the other characters will mythologize as being these unbeatable badasses, only for us to really take a look at them to see the micro expressions intentionally left there by the animators, not some accident by the actors, and being able to tell that, yeah, they're actually nervous right now, that they need this to go right or their plan is shot. And I find that always just to be so good. Mbessa is running laps around everyone in Piltover, but even she has to take a breath and hope that Kate takes the bait, that she won't turn on her or cancel martial law. That even for as much of a badass that she is, even she couldn't handle the most vicious proof of concept we have ever seen. I did wonder why Singed of all people would go to a rally, only for all of it to be an excuse to just slip Mbessa his resume. Him going through all this to bring his daughter back from the dead is also a neat touch, tying into how everyone in the story does what they do because of love. Singed was one of those characters that I liked in season 1 as they were able to maximize for how little we actually saw of him. So I'm even more happy that that continues to be true here. Though my usual one-life gripe is right here.
Your power is finite, diminished by every use.
Sir, how did you know that? He must have been spying as he already knew that Victor was the one in charge of the cult. But still, that line took me by surprise as it was coming from him. But to wrap things up, Vi and Jinx were great together, even if Vander being alive is a narrative trump card I have mixed feelings about. Isha's death was sad, though I did laugh at it.
What you say?
Mainly because Jinx really couldn't stop waving those death flags.
Ever since you dropped into my life, it's like I put on glasses.
Well, she's dead.
What you say?
Okay.
Rip Child, congrats Jinx on your new hall pass to do evil shit. Though from the trailer we will probably go in a slightly different direction. I'm very excited to see where it all goes, and yes, I will be making that Kate Vi video very soon. As again,
Mr. Studio Girl!
they just did this just to piss people off. Holy shit, like this is so out of pocket. But let me know what you all thought down below. How many years into the future was Jay sent? How clutch will Echo be saving the day? And I hope it's amazing, as I was so excited for him to get more screen time in season 2, only for...
Well, this sucks.
I expect this to be good, it's just a question of how great it's gonna be.